Myrtle naturally had two sets of legs, each consisting of one fully formed leg and one small leg, with just 3 toes. Although Myrtle was able to move her smaller legs, they weren't strong enough for her to walk on.
And what he told these deputies was he was taken against his will by a pod of dolphins and forced to work underwater with them and build these cities.
Yo, welcome back to the channel, gang. In today's compilation, we'll look at some interesting and creepy videos that'll make you question everything. And like always, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the like button. Let's get it.
Florida man claims to have been kidnapped by dolphins and forced to build an underwater city. Let's talk about it. So Lee County Sheriff Department reported early one Monday morning of a man soaking wet on the shoulder of the beach, drawing blueprints in the sand. He was severely dehydrated and very disoriented. And what he told these deputies was he was taken against his will by a pod of dolphins and forced to work underwater with them and build these cities. So basically this big underwater construction project. And the man claimed that the dolphins approached him while he was swimming on the beach one day. And they escorted him to a site that was 40 feet below the surface, where they needed help building structures. And what I find interesting is that he told the deputies that basically the dolphins communicated him through a series of clicks. Now, y'all know it is actually very illegal to communicate with dolphins. It is said that dolphins hold secrets, of ancient secrets, and there is a way that you can, communicate with dolphins. Dolphins are very highly intelligent animals. And he basically said that the leader that was orchestrating this whole project name was Gerald, and that Gerald is what helped him breathe underwater. He said Gerald handled the breathing for him, which I'm assuming with some type of air pocket or air bubble. But like I mentioned before, he had drawn an elaborate blueprint in the sand when he had returned to surface. And the deputies described the blueprints to be a little concerning. It looked like cities, towns, condos. And the man basically said the dolphins were satisfied with his work, his 3-day work of underwater construction. So they sent him back and they'll be like, we'll be back to get you for phase 2, because they're not done there. And the crazy thing is, they sent him to the hospital and he was just dehydrated, but there was no trauma to the head. There was no signs that he was, delirium or anything. There was nothing going on with his mental. He was perfectly fine. But the weirdest thing of all is they did several tests on him, of course. So they found seawater and marine particles in his lungs, which puzzled the doctors because that suggested that he had extended exposure to seawater without typical lung damage. So what they found was basically information that let him know that he was very deep in the water and he didn't have any type of lung damage. And like I said, he said he was down there for 3 days. And another crazy thing about this whole thing is this man has a master's in aerospace engineering. And he has previously worked on deep sea technology projects. So it was like the dolphins knew that this man was a very experienced engineer that has worked in the deep sea. I don't care what y'all say. Some people trying to say it's a hoax, it's all made up. But it's literally facts that there was so much stuff in his lungs that showed that he was underwater for a long period of time with no lung damage. But this whole thing is so interesting. Everybody knows that dolphins are in cahoots with the sirens and the mermaids. I feel like they're trying to build some type of underwater kingdom for them. But this is crazy, y'all. Let me know what y'all think in the comments and if y'all heard about this.
Generally, this guy would have gotten a fine or sent to jail for communicating with dolphins, but maybe law enforcement knew there was some truth to his story.
What is this? What is this, bro? Are you kidding me? What the is that, son? Ha! Remember, guys, the ocean has not been explored completely. Because people are saying that there's things like that in the ocean and much more. We haven't been down there, guys. We're on land. Remember that, right? Shut up! Now, we already know that the A's are in the W. Could that be an A? On Earth? Why does he have it in a bucket? Who is that guy? Stop playing with me, son. This video is for entertainment purpose only, and I don't think that video is real at all because it just might be AI. So they say. Shut up! I told you, guys. We can't think everything is AI when it's not AI, when you know it's AI. Stop playing with me, son. It's not a game. I ain't got you. You know what it is. Shut up. But I tell you one thing. If I'm ever in the ocean and I'm with somebody and they find something like that and they say, yo, we're going to keep it. We're going to run some tests. Run some tests. You test my patience, homie.
This looks like the animal version of a Venus flytrap.
This little black ball is a microscopic robot, and it was designed to deliver drugs anywhere you need inside the body. Now this is a massive medical breakthrough, because this might be one way we could cure cancer in the future. Now the robots are coated in gelatin and magnetic particles. Once in the body, doctors can use magnetic fields to navigate them to a particular spot, and then dissolve the gelatin to release the drug. You can see here, they're using it to dissolve a blood clot, and it works super well. Now in the future, this method could work to bring targeted chemotherapy directly to a tumor. It could also target specific infections or even bring stem cells to a particular area. We are just scratching the surface for the future of medicine, AI, and robotics.
I think that's great, but a regular society would probably get this 100 years after the elites have exhausted this and moved on to something better.
Oh my God, I can't believe it. What's her name?
Nadia.
Nadia.
Yep.
This is crazy. I didn't know they looked that real. I'm gonna get one for my daughter.
They don't wake up? No. Hers is awake, but no. Yeah. I think he sleeps. So they don't cry or nothing?
I'm gonna get one for my daughter because
These dolls look so realistic, you wouldn't think about doing a double take.
Okay, this is either really cool or a little strange, but that's who you're doing business with, right? So
What is this?
that is Marilyn's hair. So
You can clone her.
that's awesome.
Oh my god, I'm literally going to do some crazy voodoo shit that I want to wait. And I channel her. Oh, this is so special to me. Thank you so much. This is so cool. So cool.
Good vibes.
Wow. This is sleeping with me every night. Sorry, babe.
I'm not sure why this guy thought this was the best gift to give to Kim, and it was kind of strange how excited she was to get it.
So a man slept and had a dream for 90 years. That's right. That's what scientists are saying. They're saying that a man fell asleep for only 4 hours, but had an entire lifetime of almost 90 years in this dream. So let me explain. So basically this guy dreamt about being born, having a childhood, having teenage years, going through his 20s all the way up until 90 and passing away, and all of the things in between. Now, scientists say typically what we have, us normal folk anyway, have these dreams, and we have a built-in security mechanism that deletes out most of the dream. So we do have similar dreams to this gentleman. However, our brain basically deletes out most of them. Now, could you imagine living an entire life in like 4 to 6 hours, maybe even 8 hours, and then trying to come out of it? The problem for him was he couldn't come out of it. It took him a long time mentally to kind of come out of the fact that he had this entirely, totally different life on a totally different planet. And he came back and he's like, oh my gosh, I remember Earth, but his brain was all mixed up.
I think it's perfectly normal to have certain dreams about our childhood or just certain parts of our past in general, but I don't think our brain has the mental gymnastics that required to dream a whole lifetime. It looks like the remains of the effects of a rocket explosion that just froze in time.
Ring wants to help find your dog. Seriously, their new AI feature called Search Party lets Ring cameras in your neighborhood scan for lost pets. Starting in November, dogs get first-class treatment, and cats, not so much. But that's just the flashy hook. The real update is that Ring cameras finally shoot in 4K, which they were referring to as retinal vision, which translation means that now you can zoom on sketchy license plates from far away, and faces won't look like Minecraft skins anymore. The lineup is big. Wired Doorbell Pro coming at $249, the Outdoor Camera Pro is coming in at $199, a $59 Indoor Camera Plus, and if you're feeling bougie, there's a $500 Doorbell Elite, all up for pre-order right now. AI also sneaks in team with familiar faces, so your doorbell doesn't have to panic every time your cousin visits. And you get Alexa Plus greetings, so your doorbell can play receptionist for the delivery guys. So yeah, sharper video, smarter features, higher prices. The question is, do you want a doorbell or a neighborhood watch commander? Anyway, the comments are open. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and take care, guys.
Dogs like Golden Retrievers, Dobermans, and Rottweilers are very common in appearance, so the analytics given to Ring by the dog owner has to be spot on.
The Weeping Angel of Death, Lakeview Cemetery, Cleveland, Ohio. The angel appears to be weeping black terrors.
I don't think this statue have any positive contributions. It probably does a good job at raising the anxiety of people who come pay their respects to their loved ones.
What is going on here? This is the Paris Fashion Week, and this looks absolutely demonic. This is some weird stuff. Again, this is some weird stuff, but maybe this is just what fashion is nowadays, huh? Right? Maybe that's all that this is. Again, maybe this is just what fashion is nowadays. Maybe I'm just out of touch with current fashion. Maybe. Or maybe there is something more going on here, hidden in plain sight. Almost like truth in plain sight. Again, you got to admit, this looks very bizarre. This looks very creepy, very strange. In my honest opinion, Paris Fashion Week is demonic. What do you all think about this? Because honestly, this is some very strange stuff. Wake up.
If this is modern fashion, then I'll proudly wear a badge that describes me as old-fashioned.
Did you know there's a strange coincidence around the U.S. men's gold medal winning hockey team? It's a connection to the Miracle team of 1980. You know, the team that beat the Russians. They even made a movie about it. Miracle, starring Kurt Russell. But how could the gold medal winners of this Olympics be connected to a team from 46 years ago? And a movie that's been out for 22 years. Well, here you go. In the movie, just like on any team, players try out and some make it and some don't. The movie Miracle is based on the facts. And the facts are, in the movie, they show a list of people getting cut. Look down at number 21. Hard to believe, right? And there you see him in the corner of your screen, a player from 1980 that was cut from the hockey team, Jack Hughes. How crazy is it that the gold medal winning final goal was made by none other than Jack Hughes? Yeah, go ahead and say it. It's just a coincidence, but could have been a whole lot of other names. So what do you think? I'm just happy that Jack Hughes of today didn't get cut. Did you know?
The first name Jack is pretty popular, and the last name Hughes is not uncommon, but still interesting nonetheless.
No one has any clue what it is. I'm trying to make sense of it myself. Is that some sort of, that's not a foam finger that got caught up in the rainstorm, is it? Is that a balloon covered in dish soap? For those of you listening on the radio stream, I'd have to estimate it's about the length of one's leg. It touched down at about the first and second base split, halfway between the bags, and has now taken a course across the infield behind the mound over to third base side foul territory. It looks like a giant ice cube you might have pulled out of your fridge. Head groundskeeper Patrick Coakley, otherwise known as Irish, has come to scoop it up. Still have no clue what the unidentified object may be. Is it a big wisp of cotton candy that flew off the roof? Patrick's struggling to contain it. It's trying to float away.
I don't think this is a cloud because clouds are generally made up with different gases mixed with water droplets, so it's physically impossible for them to drop on the ground. But if I had to guess, it looks like a thick foam that's created by a dishwasher, but let me know what you guys think in the comments.
So the CIA is facing backlash right now because a document from the 1950s just appeared online, and this document is alleging that this is a cure for cancer. It shows a cure for cancer. Now, what cancer? I don't know, but some form of cancer. This is the document right here. Now, y'all can pause and try to read it, do whatever y'all want, rewatch it, but this is the document that got everybody going crazy. I'm not gonna lie, y'all. I'm not surprised. Think about it. Every time we hear about declassified files or documents, cover-ups, secret experiments, we always talk about this shit and they try to make us feel like we're crazy or we don't know what we're talking about. And then years later down the line, that's when all the stuff come out and people be like, oh, they was right the whole time. Duh! Y'all gotta understand, they make money when people are sick. More people that go to the doctor, more money in their pocket. So if they was to get a cure or a vaccine for something to take it away, that's money not going in their pocket. You think they really want to do that? Y'all see when it was published, October 1950. And my question is, if they was holding documents this long and it's just coming to surface, how many other documents you think they're holding that hasn't come to the surface yet?
I believe there's a small population of people who have the cure for every virus or cancer that's out there.
Two pelvises side by side, Myrtle naturally had two sets of legs, each consisting of one fully formed leg and one small leg with just 3 toes. Although Myrtle was able to move her smaller legs, they weren't strong enough for her to walk on and weren't long enough to reach the ground anyway. Meanwhile, one of her larger legs had a clubbed foot, so ironically, the so-called four-legged girl only really had one fully functioning leg to speak of. As she grew up, it became apparent that she also had some pretty crazy stuff going on downstairs too, but we'll get to that in a moment. Myrtle's condition may have made her a strange outlier in her small hometown, but little did she know, the very thing that might have held her back could also make her a star. From the moment Myrtle turned just 5 weeks old, her father decided to market her as a walking, talking moneymaker for the family. After showing off his four-legged daughter to curious neighbors and charging them a dime each, Mr. Corbin started placing ads in local newspapers to attract people from far and wide. Over the next decade or so, William Corbin would take his little girl all over the country, where she was exhibited at fairs, sideshows, and so-called dime museums. When Myrtle turned 13 in 1881, the newspaper ads Myrtle's father had posted attracted famous circus owner P.T. Barnum, and she was promptly signed for the Barnum and Bailey Tour's sideshow circuit under the moniker The Four-Legged Girl from Texas. One of Myrtle's very first promotional pamphlets described her as being as gentle of disposition as the summer sunshine and as happy as the day is long. When Myrtle first took to the stage, nothing gave away her unusual condition, apart from her particularly wide hips and clubbed foot. But when Myrtle lifted her gown to reveal what lay beneath, the whole audience was left speechless. Myrtle continued to work for P.T. Barnum for 4 years, and people were so keen to catch a glimpse that Myrtle was able to secure herself an unusually high contract of up to $250 a week. By the time she turned 18, Myrtle had raked in enough dough to be able to retire from the spotlight for the time being. Myrtle's younger sister had married a man named Hiram Locke Bicknell in November 1884, and Hiram's younger brother Clinton became interested in Myrtle. The pair married the following year. Myrtle's marriage brought an early end to her sideshow career, much to the chagrin of circus owners up and down the country. In the years that followed, despite some initial complications, Myrtle amazingly became the mother of 5 healthy children. Thanks to her rare deformity, she had 2 uteruses and ultimately carried 3 pregnancies on the right side and 2 on the left. Myrtle also had 2 distinct sets of fully functioning functioning bowels. Each part worked totally independently from each other, so hypothetically speaking, Myrtle could suffer a bout of diarrhea on one side while simultaneously battling constipation on the other, which sounds far from ideal. Besides her continuing presence in medical literature in the United States and around the world, Myrtle maintained a quiet existence with her husband and children. But when her children reached adulthood and funds started running low, Myrtle's showbiz career experienced a fleeting revival around 1909. She dusted off her best dresses and began exhibiting herself at Huber's Museum in New York.
But this girl father to use a disability as means of raking in money is diabolical.
You know what Ford has? A patent for vehicles to be able to repossess themselves. And I read it so you don't have to. That's you, number 120. That's your repossession computer, that's a camera, and that's a camera. But we'll come back to the cameras. In the event that you become delinquent on your payments, the computers will then begin to communicate with each other. One of those computers will be your lending institution. Now, warning messages will be sent to you. In the event that you do not answer those messages or try to resolve your delinquency, the first step will be to make you become uncomfortable to drive the vehicle, such as disabling things like cruise control, your automatic windows, your automatic seats, or the infotainment system. Step 2, when you, number 120, come near the vehicle, an unpleasant noise will continue to be played. You will not be able to shut off that sound without contacting, that's right, your lending institution. If, in spite of the sound produced, you still fail to respond to their messages and fix your delinquency, they will then move on to the next phase, which is disabling some, if not all, of the primary use components. For example, the engine, the brakes, the accelerator, the steering wheel, the doors, and lights of the vehicle. You know, everything you'd need to drive. You remember the cameras I told you about, 130 and 140? Yeah, well, they would be able to use those for video clips or even video streaming to see if your vehicle is parked inside a garage. Now, should it get to this point, the vehicle will autonomously drive itself from the owner's premises to either a repossession agency, an impound yard, or any other predetermined location. So if you'd like to read this for yourself, there's the patent number. Now, a spokesperson for Ford said, "We don't have any plans to deploy this," and I'm thinking it's probably because they don't know how they'd get it out of a garage if it's in one. Just a thought. Anyway, they say, "We submit patents to new inventions all the time. It doesn't mean it's a new business or product plan."
Cars that's able to repossess themselves just means less money in the tow truck company's pocket. That thing is probably a skinwalker, but now it knows where she lives, her house should be in the market for sale the next day.
Come on, B. Who is this? Who is this guy, bro? Get the shh. Oh, hell no. Come on. No. Hey, get down. Yo. Bro, who the shh. Shut up. Who is this guy, bro? Who does he think he is? Who is this? Huh? Who is this guy floating? Get down now. Bro, I don't think that's a magician. A magician shouldn't be able to do things like that. People are saying that's a wizard with some special superpowers. People are also saying that video's AI. I wouldn't know. I wasn't there, right? But to make a glass of juice or whatever that is show up out of nowhere, to start levitating in broad daylight, who the you think you are? Stop playing with me, son. This video is for entertainment purpose only. I don't even think that video is real, to be honest with you. I think it's AI. Shut up, because somebody like that better not come around my hood. Because the first thing we're gonna want to know is how you doing that. And if you keep doing stuff like that, and we don't know who you are, where you came from, you know what time is it, B?
This guy's dabbling with the dark side. If I'm at a resort and I see this, I'm ending my vacation immediately.
I hope it's getting it on the camera. I can't even see the screen. Oh, holy shit! What in the hell? This is bizarre. You see that? See that cloud right there? See that bright spot? Now watch at the top in that little V where that bright spot is. Watch that bright spot jumping around. can see that. What in the hell is going on? This is bizarre. This is crazy. Whoa, look at that! The red one, you see that?
It looks like E.T. and his comrades are done being discreet. This looks like a very unnatural way for a human being to swim, so based on the fact that I see shoulders and neck, it could very well be a mermaid or a siren.
Have you ever noticed God put his mark on a donkey? A donkey has a cross on its back, and it's not a coincidence because a donkey once carried the weight of Jesus. When Jesus rode into Jerusalem, he didn't choose a horse, but instead he chose a donkey, which is humble, overlooked, ordinary, and God uses the humble to carry holy things.
Oh, I got they ass now. You ain't think I was letting them keep the Eiffel Tower, did you? This is a huge Tartarian energy device. Colossal. The entire thing is carved out of wrought iron. The Eiffel Tower, quote unquote, the assembly, started on January 26th of 1887. And then they were done in March of 1889. Yep, you know, they went through 2 winters and bam, boom, bam, in 2 years they were done. Check out those construction photos, because you know, I mean, with something this tall in 1887, they gotta have like trucks out there, cranes, right? Wrong. Yeah, y'all know what it is. Look, just look at the photo. Look at the background. Look at it. White it out. Look at it. Yeah, here we go again. Some kind of partial what is that? You know what that looks like if you actually really look at this picture, if you analyze it? It actually looks like all of these people are actually at the big, huge Eiffel Tower. And they took a picture and they had to cut it off and chop out pieces to make it look like they were constructing it. Think about that for a second. Think about it. Why would all of these people be here? For what? Like, oh wow, it's construction. You're doing construction, things are supposed to be falling. Would you have all these people underneath there? No, you wouldn't. Sometimes we just look at these and they just don't make sense. Like, that's a construction photo now? Now I guess they finished it a little bit more and now they're going... Where is the anything? Where is the trucks? Where's the truck? Where's the I don't know. Can I get a pulley? Something? Again, same photo. Look at that. I mean, just... Really? Really? It's the illustration and the whiting out and how poorly done this all is. Check this out. Look at this. This is supposed to be another construction photo of this great large structure. Ain't not one worker in the photo. Then they want to, they got to insert white NPC. Gustav Eiffel's great creation, enthusiast, and true genius was able to go beyond. Can you just stop with the... Yeah, because this guy, he's responsible for building the... Get out of here. We're going to keep it a buck. Look at that. This is the Eiffel Tower. 1800s. I want you just to look at the technology at the top of that. Go ahead. Take all the time you need. Look at the deck. Look how everything is constructed. Just look at that. They want to tell you they constructed this in 1880 something. Listen, ain't no fucking way. Ain't no way. And something else. This motherfucker was built for airships. It was. It's Tartarian. We build everything for our airships. Don't you make all your houses with garages? Yeah, we make all of our structures with mooring masts. Is that not a mooring mast? The Eiffel Tower in Paris, France has been the target of many airship flights and the inspiration for aviation. Brazilian aviator, he flew his airship around the Eiffel Tower and back. Get the fuck out of here. Well, I'll be damned. 1901, Santos Dumont airship rounding the Eiffel Tower. Would you look at that?
It's pretty interesting that there are no photos with cranes, scaffoldings, or construction workers to support human intervention, but that's it for the video. Thank you for the support, but before you leave, smash the like button and sub up. Let me know what you think about any of those clips in the comments below, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.